Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and today we are going to make a tier list for all of the forwards in FPL. We're going to rank all of them. This is going to be a huge video, but we're going to rank every single one of them and basically say, are they avoids, are they must-haves, are they royalty in FPL? We're going to rank all of them, well, most of them anyway. Guys, this is a little bit different. I've not done something like this before, so if you do enjoy this video, please do leave a like. And if we get to 2,000 likes, I'll move on and I'll do the midfielders. If we don't hit 2,000 likes, I'll kind of understand. I'll say, okay, maybe this video was a bit of a miss, but let's see. Of course, subscribe as well if you do want to see more stuff like this, but let's get on with it. Let's have a look at the tier list. Alright guys, so here it is. Here is the tier list that I've created. We have got 5 categories, and I've put in, I think there's 31 forwards that I've entered in here. It took ages to do this, by the way. We've got S tier, FPL royalty, we've got A tier, great options, we've got B optional, C meh, and D avoid. So the higher they are in the tier list, the better they are as FPL picks. It's not just going to be about to do with the quality of the player. Remember, we've got to consider how many points they're going to get and also the value of the player as well. Do they offer good value for money? So, for example, if I ended up putting, I don't know, Chris Wood above Holland, that doesn't mean I think Holland is necessarily a worse player than Chris Wood. Maybe the price just impacts that, but I mean, spoiler alert, I'm probably not going to put Chris Wood below Holland. But let's get on with it, guys. We've got a lot of players to go through. This could be a bit of a long one. Let's kind of find out, I suppose. But yeah, we're going to start off with Dennis Undav, who is my new favourite forward, I would say. He's my new pick that I'm just absolutely obsessed with at the moment. Like, he scored so many goals and got so many assists in the Belgian league over the last couple of seasons. So I'm going to have to put him as an A tier. Just because even though he is new coming into the Premier League, he's probably a little bit risky in that sense. So I can't put him at S tier. 5.5 million for a player with that record just last season, just the last couple of seasons. Like, it's absolutely mad, and I think he's going to be a solution to all of Brighton's problems. And we're going to go through, we'll keep going from the low to high. We're going to put in Edouard next, and I think 5.5 million kind of puts him around the C to D tier. Like, I don't think he's going to get very much game time. I don't think he's going to be the starting striker for Crystal Palace. So, actually, I think maybe we need to put him in a void. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to have to put him there. But his teammate, Mateta, actually ended up starting a lot of the games at the end of last season, and he kind of he signed a permanent contract for Crystal Palace. He was playing most games as their starting striker, and he comes in at 5.5 million. If you can get Crystal Palace's starting striker for 5.5 million, if he plays more games as well, I think that actually could be fairly decent value. So it's arguably a meh, but I think actually it could end up being optional. He's not going to play every single game for Palace, but he should play enough to make 5.5 million, particularly if Crystal Palace end up doing really well this season, which they could actually be an okay pick. Well, then maybe we do need to move him to meh. I mean, there's nothing insanely exciting there, but maybe that's because we're just going for the cheap players at the moment. Dominic Solanki did so well in the Championship last season, but people still don't rate him because they think, you know, a couple of seasons ago when he was in the Premier League last, they weren't so impressed with how he performed, but he's a couple years older now. He has clearly improved. His goal-scoring record is getting better and better with each year. 29 goals in the Championship is no joke. If that was, you know, like I kind of said in yesterday's video, if his name was Solankinho and no one had ever heard of him before, everyone would be saying, oh my God, who is this Solankinho guy? He scored 29 goals in the Championship. We absolutely have to buy him. And you know what? If it wasn't for Mitrovic's season last year and Solanki was the top scoring, kind of newly promoted striker, everyone would be going mad for him. So actually, I think I'm actually going to put him in optional because he is going to be starting. He is going to be given a chance. I think he could actually do okay. Next up, we've got Brian Mbeumo. Last year, he was like a massive troll. Everyone kind of hyped him up, thought he would do really well. I mean, I myself hyped him up. I'm not even going to lie to you guys, but that was a bit of an L on my part. He's gone up in price. He was 5.5. Now he's 6 million. So he's more expensive, even though he was a bit of a troll player last season. And also, he's now listed as a forward. Last season, he was listed as a midfielder. So obviously got points for clean sheets and got an extra point for goals. So in every sense, he's got worse as an FPL option just because of his position and his price. I think I'm going to have to put him down as an avoid. I think if you're going to go for a Brentford forward, there's another guy who's going to be on this tier list who we might be a little bit more interested in, to be honest. Let's move on to Patson Dhaka. I haven't actually got Iheanacho on here. I don't think enough people will be going for Iheanacho, to be honest. His ownership is like 0.5%, so I thought, you know, I'm not going to include him on the tier list. There's enough players on here already. But Patson Dhaka is an interesting one. A few people are going for him already because that 6 million price point. It looks really good. But rotation is just going to be so horrible for the Leicester strikers this season. I don't even know if any of the players are going to get a decent amount of game time, to be honest. It's really difficult to say. So it's just far too risky for me. But I think there is some potential there. So I'm going to put him... in the Mate tier, but maybe a slightly lower on the Mate tier. In fact, let's go left to right. If a player is towards the left, that means they're higher on their tier. If a player is towards if a player is towards the left, that means they're higher on their tier. If a player is towards the right, it means they're lower on their tier. I guess let's do it that way. Brennan Johnson next. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame he's listed as a forward, but I suppose he was playing as a second striker. He's pretty highly rated. I think he could do okay. It's a shame that the fixtures at the beginning are just not... they're just not great, but let's do this as if it's for the whole season, and let's put Brennan Johnson on the optional tier, maybe slightly below Solanki, potentially there. Awoniyi is a little bit of a difficult one because we don't know what he's going to be like in the Premier League. He was obviously playing for Union Berlin in the Bundesliga last season. He scored a decent amount of goals, but nothing groundbreaking, nothing insane. Like a decent goal scoring season for him, but enough to justify a high tier. I don't know. I think I'm going to put him high C tier. We'll go on to Chris Wood. Chris Wood has actually got a really good record in the Premier League, but the way he was kind of been playing for Newcastle, his role wasn't really to score goals, it was to bring other players into play. And is he even going to be starting? Probably not. Callum Wilson is probably going to be the man starting, so he's going to have to go to the bottom of D tier. Mitrovic is an interesting one. Absolutely insane season last year. A few people are a little bit concerned again due to his Premier League performances. I think the last time he was in the Premier League, he scored 13 goals, which is not like terrible, but it's okay. You know, it's certainly good enough. And that was, you know, it might have been the time before that he got 13 goals. But anyway, he scored 13 goals in the Premier League season before. I can't remember exactly, but basically, last time he was in the Premier League, he wasn't favoured by his manager. He found himself out of the team a lot, and the team wasn't built around him at all. Now, the situation with that has changed a lot. Mitrovic is very much the centrepiece of everything that Fulham do, so he could be a new man, a man reborn. I think we have to say he is a great option. But I'm actually going to put him a higher optional, I think. Yeah, pretty good. Neil Maupay, if you've been watching this channel for long enough, you'll know what I think about Neil Maupay. Yeah, absolute troll player. I don't even think he's going to start now that Undav is at the club. So the fact that he's 6.5 million is just really bad. You know, even some of the other 6 million players are just much better value and will probably outscore him. So I'm going to put him straight to the bottom of D tier. Ivan Toney is actually okay. I think he's one of the better forward options, to be honest. So we're going to put him in... low A tier, I guess. Yeah, but definitely a good option to have, but certainly nothing near essential, I don't think. But yeah, he's a good option. He is a really good option. Jimenez, I like the fixtures, but let's think a little bit more logically. I think he is almost optional, but he's, again, one of those troll players. Is he going to have a good season or is he going to have a bad season? I don't know. I'm not that excited about Jimenez, so we'll put him down here. Nketiah, I think, just has to be an avoid, like a complete avoid, because we don't really think he's going to be playing at all for Arsenal. You know, Jesus has come in to play the number 9 position. Where does Nketiah fit in all of this? I honestly don't know where he fits in, so it doesn't really make sense to have him in your FPL team at all, because he probably just won't even start. And the only thing that will change my mind on this one is if Jesus gets injured, then Nketiah will be the only starting striker for Arsenal, which would just be an insane player to pick at that point. Or we find that Jesus actually starts playing on the wing and Nketiah starts playing as the main starting striker in the middle. It could happen, but I really don't think it is. So 7 million, it's a complete waste of money, really. Danny Ings, similarly, I don't know how much game time he's going to play. 7 million is a lot of money for a player who you don't know how much game time they're going to get. Plus, it's not even like he's playing for a top team or anything like that. Good goal scorer, but I think he has to be a narrow avoid, I think. Watkins is okay. At least you know with Watkins that he's kind of nailed on. I think he is actually potentially optional, to be honest. That 7.5 million price tag kind of puts me off a little bit, but I think he is an option. He's an option. I don't expect too much from him, but he could do okay. Miguel Antonio... last season he started so well, but the rest of the season he just tailed off completely, and he just wasn't really playing as the well, he wasn't playing in a position where he was meant to score goals. He wasn't in the team as a goal scorer. It was all about Jared Bowen, really, wasn't it? So, yeah, his role, if his role continues to be bring his teammates into play and not actually score the goals himself, then what use is he as an FPL forward, especially for 7.5 million? Great, an important player in the team, but for FPL, we've got to think about it. Is it worth it for 7 million, 7.5 million? Sorry, I think he's like a meh. I'm not that impressed. I'm not that impressed. Awani, by the way, in Meh is only because he's an unknown quantity, by the way. Like, looking at this more, it feels a little bit harsh putting him there. But, unknown quantities, unless they're coming in with an insane record, are usually players you kind of maybe want to avoid. And, Mitrovic came in with an insane record. Undav came in with an insane record. I'm not quite prepared to take a punt on him, but, maybe some of you guys are. But, yeah, just going back to him for a second. Patrick Bamford for 7.5 million is pretty much as low as we can go. I mean, at least he's guaranteed game time, but Leeds potentially losing their main creative force. Bamford, who has had injury problems. It's a lot of money for him. I would have liked, we could move him up the tiers. If he was 7 million, he'd go up a tier. If he was 6.5 million, he would go up to B tier. But he's not. He's 7.5 million, so I think we have to put him pretty low. Callum Wilson, I do quite like, though. So Callum Wilson, I'm actually going to put in A tier. A great option to have. I don't think he's FPL royalty necessarily, but whenever Callum Wilson is fit, he actually genuinely scores goals like crazy. So we're actually going to put him top of A tier, I think. I think he's a really good option. For me, though, you won't be surprised at all to learn that he's pretty much the opposite of the kind of FPL player that you should be going for. Very much not guaranteed a starting place anymore. And not the kind of player who scores a lot of goals, despite the fact he's listed as a forward. It's just like everything that you don't want with an incredibly big price tag. 8 million for a non-starting non-goal scoring forward. It's just not the one, is it? Dominic Calvert-Lewin at 8 million is not great either. I'm not really convinced by this one, so I think he has to go in the meh category. He's not necessarily a void, but it's certainly not exciting me. The price tag really kind of does put me off, so I'm going to put him like there. Timo Werner, similarly, I don't even know if he's an option really. Is he going to be playing as a striker? Probably not. He's probably going to play as a winger. Why is he not listed as a midfielder? Therefore, he should be getting, if he's playing in midfield, he should be getting midfielder points. How much is he going to start? We always have this rotation at Chelsea, which is pretty mad. I think he probably is first choice for Chelsea at the moment, depending on, other signings. We're going to see Sterling come in, so maybe that's going to displace Werner. I don't know. So maybe the Sterling factor is going to put Werner down the pecking order a little bit. So maybe we need to kind of put him at maybe a higher void, I guess. Yeah, I think he has to go in the void category, unfortunately. Kai Havertz, on the other hand, if he's the main starting striker by the time the Gameweek 1 deadline rolls around, and it doesn't look like Chelsea are going to sign another striker, I think he actually could be okay. Like, there are worse options. Like, it's not amazingly exciting, but it's like optional. So, as such, let's put him at the bottom of optional. Gary Jesus, 8 million. Is he the answer to Arsenal's problems? Potentially. Is he going to score an insane amount of goals? Maybe not. You wouldn't call him an out-and-out goal scorer, but he should chip in and score enough goals. He could do okay. I don't want to put him in the great options category. I don't think he's quite at that level. He's certainly not an avoid, so he's somewhere in B or C. I think he's actually a B-tier player, to be fair. I would put him like, I don't know. He's proven himself in the Premier League. Let's put him around Ollie Watkins, Mitrovic. In fact, let's put him high B-tier. Because he is actually a pretty good option, just not the best option. Richarlison, 8.5 million. Where's he going to go? He's going to go pretty low as well. He can't even play Gameweek 1. He's got a ban for Gameweek 1. He's not going to be starting. He's been brought in to be used as a sub and to be used if Spurs get an injury to Kane or Son, then Richarlison comes in and maybe plays some minutes off the bench. But he's not even going to really be starting for Spurs very often. 8.5 million again for a player who's not even starting. It's too much. It's too much money. He's got to go in the avoid tier somewhere. I think he's got to go pretty low in the avoid tier as well. Maybe like around here. Jota is interesting. He's gone up in price. He's changed to a forward, so he's no longer a midfielder. He's got competition now with Nunez in the striker position. He's got competition with Diaz in the left wing position. And Salah, no one's got any competition with Salah, so, forget that. I don't know. I feel like he has to go pretty low. If and when he does play, he'll do very well. And there's every chance that he could start the season amazingly and just basically make himself nailed on. It could happen. But am I going to start the season with Jota? No, I'm not. He's an avoid. He's an avoid. Nunez, a little bit more interesting. I don't know if Nunez actually starts the season. Like, obviously, he's a class player, and he does look an incredible player, by the way. I think Liverpool are going to turn Darwin into, like, a next-level striker. Again, like they seem to do with every, forward they bring in. I think this is going to happen again for Nunez. But I think it may take him a little bit of time to adjust to the Premier League. I don't know if he comes out the blocks, firing straight away. I don't know if he even starts every game straight away. He may be slowly integrated. He's not a player I would personally start with, but I do think he is almost optional. Almost optional. For the start of the season, I would say he's meh. But maybe over the course of the whole season, it's really risky. It's a player that could turn out amazingly, but you're really going to take a risk on him. I think we're going to have to put him kind of very high meh tier for now. But, he's such a difficult one to place. He's not an avoid by any stretch of the imagination, because I think he could actually do quite well. But I don't know, man. I just feel like I'm not starting with him. Jamie Vardy, 9.5 million. For what he brings, whenever Vardy plays, his numbers are ridiculous. Whenever he's fit and firing. Well, not even when he's firing. Whenever he's fit, he is firing. So he's just such a good FPL asset to have whenever he is playing football. Is he going to be slowly disintegrated from the Leicester team due to his age? Probably. But he still does have that quality. We've seen it at the end of last season. I think we have to put him in the optional tier, if I'm totally honest. I think we have to put him in there. How high in the optional tier? I don't know. Probably, maybe behind Jesus, because when he plays, he's phenomenal, and he's fit for the start of the season, or currently he's fit for the start of the season, unless he gets an injury pre-season. He's good to go. Let's go Cristiano Ronaldo next. 10.5 million for a player who actually did really well in the Premier League. Kind of went under the radar because, well, I don't know if it went under the radar necessarily, but people forgot how good Ronaldo's season was because Manchester United's season was so bad. When actually, as an individual, Ronaldo was scoring a lot of goals. He was getting a lot of good points totals, good scores for Man United. He's not FPL royalty, but at 10.5, look, if it wasn't for some of the other options, you'd say that Ronaldo's a great option. But for now, I'm going to put him in optional. Which leaves 2 players left and no players yet in FPL royalty. What are we saying here, guys? Well, we're going to put Kane in FPL royalty. I mean, it's difficult not to. I think he's just such a good pick. A pick that I don't really think can go wrong. He is just such a proven Premier League striker at this point. He's getting so many goals every season. He's getting so many assists every season as well, which is added to his game. He's on penalties. He's playing for a Spurs team that is getting stronger and stronger and stronger under one of the best managers in world football. Some people like to say, Kane never scores in August. That used to be the case, but it was about 5 years ago. The last time Kane didn't score that's when his scoring in August streak ended. Since then, he obviously didn't score last season in August, but that was because, partially because the management was terrible. He didn't buy into the manager's project. He didn't have a pre-season because of the Euros, and there was all of that transfer, drama with Manchester City, which I think made last season the exception to the rule. So apart from last season, each of the last 4 seasons, he's actually started off really, really quite well, particularly when he gets a full pre-season, that's exactly what he gets. Kane, when he's not had a pre-season, well, the first 10 game weeks end up being his pre-season. But this time, I think he's a really good safe pick. He definitely can score early season. We've seen that now for 3 out of the last 4 years. He's got a great team around him. He's got a great manager. I'm as an Arsenal fan, I'm kind of scared of Spurs right now, and I'm kind of scared of Kane. And I think the fact that he's gone down in price and he's now cheaper than Son, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good going. I mean, last season, people were happy to have Kane at 12.5 for the second half of last season. Why not 11.5? I think it's a good one. And then finally, Holland. New player coming into the Premier League, but I mean, a very good player coming into the Premier League. One of the world's best players coming into the Premier League. The question is he as good as Kane? I don't know. I mean, he's going. Let's be real. Holland goes in S tier. We're all very confident about him. I think he's the most owned player in FPL right now. Most people are selecting him. It really is quite mad. If you were to ask me, who do I prefer, Holland or Kane? Right this second, I think I prefer Kane. But it's a very, very difficult one. They're both insane options, and in an ideal world, we'd have them both. but that's often not possible, particularly if you want Salah in your team, if you want Son, if you want KDB, if you want other players in your team. It's kind of difficult to have them both, but I'm going to put him there. I mean, they're both S tier, but I'm going to rank Kane slightly ahead of him. But don't read into that too much. In fact, guys, someone's already suggested this in the comments, but what I will be doing at some point in the near future is a full video basically dedicated to Son versus Kane, Holland versus Kane, and kind of trying to explain to you kind of the pros and cons of each player, comparing some of their stats, seeing who will do better, and helping you guys make a decision, see which one of the two is right for you. So that video is coming, so make sure you've got subscriptions and notifications on and stuff like that for that. But there we go, guys. I think that's pretty much the tier list. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't know if everyone is going to agree with this. This is probably going to be super controversial, but it's a bit of fun, you know, guys. It's a bit of a fun video, and I think we have had an opportunity to speak about the various forwards. Like I was saying earlier, guys, if you do enjoy this kind of content, do make sure you like. If we get to 2,000 likes, we'll do a midfielders version of this. If this gets to, like, I don't know, 2,500 likes, we'll just do all of them. And I won't even ask for like targets anymore. I'll just say, okay, fair enough. You guys like this kind of stuff, we'll do it. Obviously, let me know in the comments if you like this kind of thing as well. But I'm pretty happy with that. I think that's a decent little tier list. And you know what? One more thing, guys, before we do the outro. I will also share the link to this tier list over on my Twitter at FPL Mate. So if you want to have a go yourself and make your own tier list using the exact same graphics that I've just uploaded onto this website, then you can, and maybe you can send me some of your tier lists as well. That could be pretty fun. A pretty fun game for you guys to do at home if you're into that kind of thing. But there we go. There is my forwards tier list. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Remember, like target 2,000. Hit those like buttons. Subscribe if you're new around here. I've got so many FPL videos planned. I've got like a list of 40 videos or so. We need to get through all of them, and we will get through all of them. Just stay tuned for that. Loads more to come. I appreciate you guys watching these videos so much. It's a very exciting time in the world of FPL, let me tell you that. But yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.